In this video, we're going to talk all about shorting stocks. We've gone over what that is and the risks of shorting, but let's go even deeper into what stocks you can even short. When you are shorting stocks, you always need to be on guard as your risk is unlimited. With small caps, your risk can be even larger because of the large percentage moves they can make. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 things to always look for before shorting any stock. The first thing to note is that sometimes the broker runs out or doesn't have shares for you to borrow. If they don't have shares for you, this is called NTB, or none to borrow, or it might be called HTB, for hard to borrow. If they do have shares for you, it's considered ETB, or easy to borrow. Most of the large caps are easy to borrow. When it comes to the smaller caps, there's quite a few that are hard to borrow. If this is the case, some brokers will allow you to locate shares to short. Once they locate or find shares for you, then you can short that stock with the shares that you requested. You will be able to use those shares over and over for the day. For example, say that you want to locate shares, and you tell your broker that you want to locate 500 shares of XYZ stock so that you can short XYZ. Then you short the stock using those 500 shares and you cover. So now you're back to a flat position. You do not have a position. You can now use those 500 shares again. You can do that over and over and over throughout the day. Located shares will often be associated with a per share fee. Fees can add up after locating the shares, as it is usually a daily locate fee. So you will be charged that fee each day you hold the shares. But every broker is slightly different with their fees, so be sure to check out your broker first before you start locating shares. There are also specialty brokers like Centerpoint that are specialized to short stocks. Usually the hard to borrow stocks are the ones that are making big moves up that there's a large short float, which is the second thing to remember. And that is the short float, or it's also called the short interest. You can find this on sites such as Finviz or shortsqueeze.com. This will give you the number of shares being shorted or the percentage of shares being shorted. Anything over about 10% has a high short interest, but anything over 20% is a large short interest. This could create a short squeeze, causing the shorts to be in too much pain that they have to cover or buy back their shares, creating a parabolic move, with the shorts covering and the longs buying. A parabolic move is when a stock basically goes nuts and shoots up. This usually happens with small cap stocks, but it can happen with mid and large caps. Peloton, or PTON, is a great example of a short squeeze. At one point, the at-home gym company had a 90% short float. When the pandemic hit in 2020 and people started working out at home, the stock started to run as their sales increased. Now, since 90% of the stock was owned by shorts, they all had to buy back shares to exit their position when it started to go largely against them. So, they were trying to buy shares to get out of their position, and the longs were trying to buy shares to get into their position, causing a huge move. You can see in the chart, the low in March was around $16. And in September, it hit around $140. This is a clear chart showing you a short squeeze. Now, the short flow on Peloton is around 3%. So, you know all these shorts had to stop out and take some big losses. And lastly, know if your broker is allowing you to use margin or not. On some of the more volatile stocks, usually small caps, your broker will not allow you to use margin because of the risk. They don't want to lend you the money to get into that position. So you can only use the cash that's in your account. This actually doesn't go only for shorting. This could happen for going long on some of these volatile stocks as well. Every broker is going to show this a little bit differently, but you'll be able to tell as you send an order, and in the confirmation, it tells you how much buying power that position is going to take. In conclusion, know first, if you can even short the stock, being hard or easy to borrow. 2, know the short interest and be aware of a possibility of a short squeeze. 3, know if you can use margin with that stock. Be knowledgeable of these things before you start putting your money to work, especially to the short side. And I'll see you in the next video.